Okay, well, excuse the noise. It's kind of windy today, kind of cold, but some of y'all have showed interest in how I do the wristband watch style insert, pleats, whatever you want to call them. Um, I guess let me first say that it is time consuming, and I figured it out just by trial and error, trial and error. So hopefully, I'll learn from all my mistakes, and it's a lot easier once you get it done and once you figure it out. But here's what it ended up looking like. And I started doing this because I think a company in Russia is the first one that started doing it, and then a leather company actually offers inserts now. But just like you want to do things yourself. Sometimes you don't know how to do it, or maybe just don't have an idea of how to do it. So once again, let me guide you through all the suffering that I did just to learn how to do this. But anyway, here's what it should look like. Three-dimensional. It's looks like it's all sewn together one piece. And here's the insert. And I'll show you the back side of it. I'll show you some of the things that you're going to need, how to achieve this look. This is I think 3/16 Landau foam, or quarter inch. You can use quarter inch. I think the most important thing though is that the backing. Now this is a backing that I didn't use for the inserts, but it's all I have for today. So just bear with me with that. I'll actually go back to this one and I'll show you what I use as a backing. This is the backing that I used. I think it's called decking, but this is what you want to use. So that's pretty much the first part of what you're going to need. Follow with me. Like I said, this is probably my first video of explaining how to do this, and hopefully I'll guide you through it well. And if you have any questions, or just put it in the comment section. But this is the first part. Okay, so here's kind of the first part of actually getting started. With your Landau foam, for this insert I marked it at 5 inches. This is 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Also, okay, 5 inches. We get it. But there are 3 separate pieces. You're going to have to make it 3 separate pieces. Just trust me when I say that. Also, you can see that I actually channeled it a little bit. That helps with the actual sewing of it. Gives it a little bit more depth. You don't want to make this individual pieces and try to sew it on. It's a nightmare. It's a headache, and it just doesn't quite come out right. Like I said before, trust me, I tried this a million different ways until I actually figured it out the right way, or what I think is the right way. I mean, everyone has their opinion, but anyway, that's what you want to do. Like I said, foam, channel it, and basically try to keep the insert, with what the seating is. The sides can be a little bit bigger, no big deal, because you're actually going to trim that off anyway. So, okay, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, the next step would be, we'll need to start with the middle piece. What you do is you want to make this accurate as possible. Cut it exactly to your dimensions. The straighter the better, always. It will help out obviously in the final product. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take this other 1/4 inch foam, no backing, and we're going to glue that on top. Okay. Once you glue that down, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to cut the edge as nice as possible. You can cut it right on the edge. You can probably give it about another 1/4, another 1/8. But I cut it at the very edge, because what we're going to do after that is, once that's actually glued down, cut the edge. This is Black Alante. It's cut 5.5 inches, or 5 inches, sorry. And we are going to take that, once that's glued, this is glued on here, cut out the edge. We're going to put that on top, and we're going to completely wrap it. Okay? Got that? We're going to completely wrap that. That's the key to the 3D is going to be two things. One is this foam right here. Now, the key of why is because if you were to wrap just this foam, you know, like that, you would never really give it a good structure. It'd always be real loose. It would distort, so it would never really give you that nice, let's see, crisp edge, as we were seeing right there. Okay, you would never achieve that. So this is the key right here. The foam is the key. Foam is one key. So like I said, once you do that, I'll show you real quick. See how it leaves that nice edge on there? That's what we're trying to do. That's one of the keys. So I'll wrap this, and then we'll go to the next step. Now we have the middle piece wrapped in the 1/4-inch foam, and like I said, I cut it right on the edge. Make sure it's a nice, also cut, you know, with the razor blade. Don't use scissors. Get it as straight as possible, and things will turn out better. Also on the back side, I marked it where it's going to be sewn at, and also, you know, I measured from here to here, which is 5 3/4, just in case I lose it after I wrap it, because basically I'm going to wrap it, and it should cover most of that, and you shouldn't be able to see the back side of this. But now, like I said, we're going to wrap it and just start Black Alante, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so on wrapping this, also what you need to know is, let me turn the camera the right way. You want to wrap it and just pull on the edge. You don't want to bend it over too much. You don't want to pull so hard that it actually pulls the foam. Remember, you're trying to get that nice crisp edge, and so slightly, you know, just make sure it's level it out. I use both hands. Fortunately, I don't have 3 hands right now, but you get the idea. I sprayed just a light adhesive. This is what I use most of the time. You can use your normal contact cement or whatever. Basically, all you're trying to achieve is glue the top side to the back side, and then we'll throw glue in here and glue it down. And when you do this, make sure that you cover enough. I would say maybe, what is that, 3/4 of an inch in on both sides. If you can cover the whole thing, that's fine, but you at least want to achieve that, because when you sew it, I'll show you why. Okay. Okay, there's that middle piece completely wrapped. So you can see how nice and even it is. So you don't really want to wrap it real tight. You just want it just enough to get it nice. Your edges real nice. Oops. Just enough to get your edges really, really nice. Okay. Okay, next step is, what we're going to do is, with our backing, we're going to lay down this middle piece, and I've already traced the lines on it. This is the middle piece right here. These lines right here. You know, we're going to lay it in there, and we're going to sew here first. We're going to sew, whoops. We're going to sew this piece to this first, okay? These 1/2 inch marks from that, this 1/2 inch mark from that'll come in later. And I'll explain, like I said, you really need to follow this why I have that marked 1/2 inch. Basically what happens is, I'll kind of show you real quick, is once we have this sewn on with our lines going across, I'm going to come back with black alante and I'm going to sew here. Whoops. I'm going to sew that like that. And then I'm going to flip it over. See? It'll flip over. And that'll be the, I guess, the third or fourth part. Once again, okay, so we've sewn this middle piece onto our backing. Okay, and as you can see, it gets a little distorted, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. But you definitely want to sew all the way through and backstitch on both sides. Backstitch on both sides, because this is the only thing that's going to hold this. Okay, not the side pieces that are on there. That's not going to do anything with this. That's not going to hold it down. So you must backstitch on the edges. Okay. Now the backing that I used for this, it's not the backing that I used to make the inserts that I've been showing you. That's why you see a little bit of distortion right here. You know, on the line. That's okay. That line's just a guide anyway. So as long as we sew our next piece straight on here, shouldn't be a problem. Alright, what I've done from here is I've cut 2 pieces of black. They're 7.5 inches wide by probably like 24 inches long. And how I'm going to sew this, I use the straightest edge that I have. And I'm not going to sew it on top. I'm not going to sew it on top like this. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it like this and sew it. Like that. And I'm going to use my 1/2 inch mark from here, that's 1/2 inch, as a guide. Because what's going to happen once I sew this like that, I'm going to take my other foam, and I'll show you. I'm going to take the other foam, I'm going to stuff it under there, create a nice edge. Take the other foam, stuff it under there, make a nice edge, then I'm going to roll that piece back. I'm just going to roll it. I'm not going to glue anything just yet. This is also going to get 1/4 inch foam, okay? But that's the next step. So I've sewn my other piece on top of the backing, just like this, so it overlaps. Okay. I've actually used, I marked it a 1/2 inch in, but basically I'm pretty much, can't see that really, but here's the foam here, and my foot's here. This is the 1/2 inch mark on this side, so it sews in about 1/4 inch. But you can use the foam that's in the middle as a guide and just sew it. You can make it a little longer on this side. That's okay. I just like to be a little bit technical. That way, you know, I can correct an error if one's made. But keeping straight lines also, you want to make that nice and even as possible. Like I said, keep your stitching nice and tight. And maybe you can see that. No, let me turn off the light real quick. There you go. See how that foam right there is actually my guide while I'm sewing? Okay. So once again, we sew that on the inside to get that. Alright? So once again, I'll show you what we're going to try to do. we're going to stuff this. We're going to stuff that in there like that. It's going to get folded over. It's going to get folded over like that. And we're going to sew in between it. Okay. The next step is also you're going to have to, like I said, be careful. But that's how we do that. That's like I said, that's why we have the backing, okay? Because nothing is going to hold this, just that. Nothing is going to hold this. It's just going to be that. So you're going to be able to see under it, okay? Okay, next step. And what I did here is I marked my seams, the 5 inches of where this line is, okay? Of where that line is, okay? And I marked it halfways, which is 2.5 or 2.5, because this is where your next piece is going to go. That piece that you cut out also of the, this piece is going to go on there next. And I've marked it also because you can't see where I channeled it. So the channels are running through here. Channels running all the way across, so when you sew it makes it a little easier. So I've marked that, and now I'm going to line it up with the center of that. And when I glue this, I'm actually going to glue this on here. That edge is right there. You can see that edge right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay this on top, right in the middle, right where those lines are, right where that mark is. Just so, glue it right there. Right where the edge is. Okay. Once I glue it down firmly, now I'm going to flip this over. And you can see what we're trying to do here. Now that looks a little rough right now because you can still see a gap. But what you're supposed to do is, that's why you don't want to glue to the edge. You want to glue a little past it. You're going to push it. You're going to push that like that, and then it'll cover that little indentation up, that little squash part down right there. Okay. So that's going to be the next step. Okay, I've glued this down, the foam down, and now if you can see, I'm on the edge, and you want to get it as tight as to the edge as possible, as tight as the edge as possible, all the way through down, all the way down. Now you may notice that it's kicked up a little bit. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but that's fine, because what you're going to do is now, obviously, you're just going to fold this back. You can fold that back, and you're going to try to make as tight all the way through as possible. You're not looking to glue the whole thing down just yet. You're trying to make that crisp edge first. Okay, which there you go. So you can see that. So that's why it's so important to use the Landau foam, the vinyl top pad, the Landau foam, whatever you want to call it, the white foam, basically the hard foam, because that's what gives you your edge. Gives you your nice edge. If you use regular foam, it's almost impossible to achieve. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll mark from here to here, also in the center, and I'll sew it all the way through. That gets a little tricky because what happens here is, and that's why that's why the backing's there. When you sew it, let me see here. Turn it around real quick. When I sew it, what I'm going to do is, right here where the middle is, more or less, I'll mark it soon enough. I'm going to pull this back just enough so I can sew onto this backing. Just enough so I can sew into the backing, back stitch it, and sew all the way through. Okay, and don't worry about that. That'll relax a little bit. It'll come out. And all right, on to the next part. See, obviously started, draw the line, halfway point from here to here, halfway. And there you go. Now you also remember, back stitch it. You have to back stitch it, if not it's going to come apart. But that, like I said, the backing material is the key to this. Okay, that's all it is. I'll do the other half right now, and don't worry about these little, imperfections right here. They'll come out. A little bit of steam. Said it is a cold day. That's basically the gist of it. Said I'll do the other half right now, and I'll show you a final shot, and see what it looks like. And there you have it. Like I said, the key to this is the backing and the foam. I think some of y'all have probably seen other designs with this effect, but the good thing is, like I said, it adapts to just about anything. I use it for an insert. You can make it bigger, you can add, you can do as much as you want. Like I said, this is just a guide pretty much on how I did it. I'm sure there's other ways it can be achieved, but this is the one that I have tried, and it looks just like what a lot of you other trimmers and upholsterers are trying to achieve. So thanks for watching. Like I said, if you have any questions, just put it in the comment section, and I'll try to answer it as best I can. Thanks for watching.